Hi Booktube, I'm Emily. Welcome. I've finally stopped listening to the little part of me that says don't start a Booktube channel, Emily. You've got far too much else to do. And so here I am. I've decided that I'll jump in by doing the Booktube Newbie tag. And I also found that there is another new to Booktube tag. And so when I saw Asti's video that I'll link to below, where she combined all the questions, I decided there were questions from both that I liked and that I was going to do the same thing. So, question 1. Where are you joining us from? I am joining you from Australia. I don't want to get much more specific than that at the moment because this is the internet. Question 2. How old are you? I am 29. I will be 30 in July. Question 3. How did you discover Booktube? I sort of was aware of it because I've been book blogging for a long time now, but I sort of never really watched it much, and I've only started doing that really recently, and I decided that I would like to join in. Question 4. Why did you start this Booktube? So I had always resisted starting a Booktube because it seemed that a lot of the time it's people squeeing over new releases and getting excited over things that are coming out or receiving ARCs from publishers, and they're really excited about that, which is all great, except I don't get many of that. I do read ARCs, but not sort of the big hyped up books and that sort of thing. And so I figured, you know, here's me reading a new release like a year later and I'm going to be late to the party for everything. But it occurred to me that I could use a YouTube channel to showcase Australian books that I've read that may not have as big an audience as some of those New York Times bestsellers, and also other books that I think need some more love that might have been out for a while and yet it seems like nobody's reading them or talking about them. So that's my plan with this channel. Question 5 is, what is the meaning behind your channel name? Well, at the moment it's just Emily Rayburn, which is my online pseudonym and the pseudonym I write under. My name actually is Emily, but Rayburn is not my real last name. Question 6 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? So look, I'm not gonna promise anything fun or unique. Sometimes I manage to accidentally be funny, so maybe that'll happen here, who knows. Having said that, it does seem that even within the Australian Booktube community there is not really that much talked about the young adult books, or at least I haven't come across any yet. So while it's not going to be 100% my focus, talking about Australian young adult is maybe something that is a bit unique to me, or more unique. More unique doesn't make any sense. It's either unique or it's not. Anyway, rambling now. Let's go on to the next question. Question 7 is, what challenges do you think you might face with your own channel? So my main challenge is going to be that I have zero time management skills. I'm already working full-time, studying, rehearsing a musical, working on my own writing, blogging, reading. So, you know, I totally have enough time for a YouTube channel as well. This could all crash and burn within 3 videos. Question 8 is, what types of books do you read, and or what types of books do you want to talk about on your channel? So I basically read everything. Like, I'll read young adult across all genres, fantasy. I really love thrillers as well, although I do differentiate between straight crime fiction and thriller, and I'm much more into thriller. I read historical fiction, I read romance, I read contemporaries. I'm not very picky really. Question 9 is, who are some of your favourite authors? I actually have this habit of like reading 1 or 2 books by an author and then kind of forgetting about them and never coming back to read the rest. One author that does come to mind though, who I've read most of her books in the past year, is an Australian young adult author named Ellie Marnie, and I'll probably talk about her books heaps on this channel, but if you enjoy young adult contemporary you should totally check her out. Question 10 is, what's the last book you read? And question 11 is, what are you currently reading? And I'll answer those 2 together because it's 2 books in a series. The book that I most recently read was actually an audiobook. It was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, which was amazing. And I've now started The Muse of Nightmares, also on audio. Question 12 is, what do you use for a bookmark? So I have this tendency to collect actual bookmarks. I buy them when, you know, you go to like somewhere like a museum or a gallery and they're like 5 for $1. So I have a lot of bookmarks, but I am not averse to scraps of paper, my phone, basically anything that's lying around. Question 13 is, show us your current TBR pile. As you can see, I'm not at home. I'm at work, it's my lunch break. But even if I were at home, I don't really have a TBR pile. I'm a mood reader. I have like my Goodreads to read shelf. I have the arcs that are pending on my NetGalley account, and I basically, when I finish one book, I decide what I'm going to read next at that point. I don't have like a stack at my bedside or anything like that. Question 14 is, which do you prefer? Hardback or paperback? Ebooks to physical, and owning or borrowing? So I'm actually more of a paperback fan. If I am reading a physical book, just because I do most of my reading when I'm out and about, on the bus, at work, that sort of thing, and paperbacks are just not as giant and heavy in a bag. As for ebook, physical, and borrowing or owning, I'll answer those two together, and basically it's whichever way will get me the book the fastest. So if there's a reasonably priced ebook, I'll grab that. If the library's got it, I'll put a hold on it at the library if I'm not wanting it right now. I also have an Audible membership, and I'm actually using that to try and read books that have been on my list for years and years and years. So basically any kind of reading I'm okay with, as long as I can read the book. I don't really have any time for the ebook versus physical debate. I don't care. The words of the story are what's important to me, not the format it's in. Question 15 is, when did you start reading? I mean, I've been reading forever. I can remember my favourite book as a kid. I had a Spot book, and I also had Where the Wild Things Are, and I used to read them constantly. Question 16 is, what book or series got you into reading? Well, I just mentioned Where the Wild Things Are, Spot. There were probably others. Possum Magic, another Australian classic. That's a really great one. I had that one. Question 17 is, where do you read? I actually do most of my reading on the bus to and from work. People are a bit baffled why I don't want to drive, particularly if they offer to pay the parking at work, and it's because then I don't get to read, and that sucks. I hate that. I also read on my lunch break, except for this lunch break because I'm filming this video instead. Question 18 is, why do you love reading? I love stories. I love people putting ideas into my head. I love hearing stories, and I love seeing what other people can come up with, and I love falling in love with characters and admiring strange worlds that people have built. That's why I love to read, because it takes me to places I would never imagine. And finally, question 19 is, where else can we find you? I'm everywhere on the internet. I have Twitter, I have a Facebook page, I have a writing blog and a separate review blog. I'll put all my links down in the description. That's the easiest way, and you can follow where you'd like. Well, that's brought me to the end of my Booktube Newbie, new to Booktube hybrid tag, and my lunch break is about to end, so I guess that's timed well. Thanks for joining me if you've sat through this whole thing, and I'll see you in the next video.